Thank you, Chairman Fair. Look, this is a difficult issue, I think, to a great extent, because it deals with the intersection of the two things that are most important to most people, their faith and their child's education. So I understand it's difficult, and I think you all have done a really very able job of opening this up to have this dialogue and this discussion. But it's important to get it right. And I think getting it right, in my judgment, is adopting the standards that have been presented to you in the process that you created by the framers, without changing them, without watering them down, without inviting mischief. That's what I believe. And I want to start, and I'll be brief, because I know you'll only let me be brief, but this is from the Board of Education, the Department of Education's PowerPoint on this issue. Why do we need new science standards? And the three reasons that you all said: low student performance on state, national, and international measures, persistent achievement gaps, and lack of preparation of graduating seniors. The truth is, our science standards, candidly, were a joke. Almost every major national group rated them as bad as they could be. And everybody knows that, and I think you were right in going about it this way. So you created a process, dozens of academics, dozens of teachers, dozens of scientists to say, what is the very best thing we could give our students? And they came up with what I think is the very best thing they could do. And then the National Academy of Sciences, and the Institute of Medicine, the president of both those groups, applauded the standards they produced and said you did a terrific job in this process that's taken over a year. So I think you've done it exactly the right way. Friday night, a new set of standards came out. They came out at the close of the evening on President's Day weekend, right before morning Tuesday debate on this issue. And I don't want to insult you, but to a certain extent you resembled the Florida legislature in the manner about this way this came out. And the truth is, I don't know what those optional standards are going to do, but I believe it was a compromise. I believe it was an attempt to recede from what the Academy and the Institute of Medicine said were world class. And I don't know why in Florida we would recede from something that's world class. Florida students deserve the very best. Why did the framers all agree? Why did they want these standards? Because I think they recognize, and I believe, and I'm not speaking as a leader of any caucus, I'm speaking as a state legislator and as a parent of children in the public schools, that it's important not to mix science and faith. It's important not to mix it. There's a natural tension there. But the truth of the matter is, if you start to put faith and religion into science class, you do neither of them any service. And I think that's what people, from my perspective, are telling you. They're saying, at some point, my 9 and 7-year-old are going to grow up and they're going to get a little older in the school system, and they're going to come home and say, please explain to me Genesis and please explain to me Darwin and the difference between the two. And I'm going to have to answer that child. And that's my job to answer that child. It's maybe my rabbi's job to assist me, or somebody's minister or somebody's preacher. But it's not my science teacher's job to navigate that difficult terrain. And I think that's what we're saying. We should do no disservice to people of faith who say they have a different perspective. But the one thing we should be very careful about is mixing science and faith, and we should not invite teachers to do that. My concern with the optional standards is we really don't know what they will do. You've added scientific theory all over the place and laws. You've changed them somewhat dramatically on a Friday night. And I don't know what they will do, whether it'll be a wink and a nod to teachers to do something that probably they ought not be doing. But I know that new standard, those new optional standards have not been vetted. They haven't gone through the process you spent a year setting up. And it's almost like if you adopt those standards, it's going to be with an asterisk, like Barry Bonds' home run record. Here's the new standards, but we've changed them somewhat at the last minute to placate groups that have disagreed with us. I believe science class is a place for the teaching of science. And I believe faith and religion should be taught at home and in synagogues and churches. And I think you do a disservice to both when you mix them together. Thank you very much for your work on this, and thank you for your audience.